Hi everyone, and a warm welcome to Ericsson's headquarters here in Stockholm, Sweden. I'm Eva Hedfors and I'm going to be the host of this session. And today we're bringing out a new exciting news around our latest product launch, the Ericsson's 5G Core Policy Studio. We've had a really good start of the year when it comes to launches. Most recently, we launched a new line of ultra-lightweight, mid-band massive MIMO 5G radios. And end of January, we launched 5G RAN network slicing, which was a core component into our network slicing offering. And today, we're going to show you how we're bringing in even more capabilities in order to support network slicing. We are here at the studio, and we're going to zoom in to the heart of the network, the core. And we want you to be part of the journey. So please ask your questions. We have a team behind me here who are ready to answer your questions at any time. But first, I would like to welcome Monica Setson. She's the head of Solution Area Packet Core here at Ericsson. And she's going to be with me today. A warm welcome, Monica.
Thank you very much, Eva. It's great to be here. An exciting day for sure.
Yes.
You know, I get to represent my team here now who has, put so much energy and focus into developing the solution that we're launching today. So definitely, great to see it come to life and also sharing it with you and everybody else watching.
It's exciting day, Monica, and you should be really, really proud of your team. I must say they have really nailed the market window for the solution. And if you just take a look at the market, I mean, the 5G uptake has been exceptional. And we now have over 80 live networks around the globe powered by Ericsson. And of course, we're learning a lot from these networks and from our customers. And we're now seeing that shift into trying to tap into the business potential that comes with 5G. And if we also look at some of the recent studies that we show, we see that both in the consumer segment and in the enterprise segment, there are revenue potentials for our customers to tap into. So if I double click on the enterprise, we see that there's actually $700 billion business potential by 2030. Up for grabs here.
Huge number.
Huge number. And it's not going to be easy to grab it. But we are seeing that our customers are strategizing in terms of how to grasp that potential. And one of the methods they're using is obviously to look at how they can slice their network in order to cater for different use cases and enterprise needs. So, I mean, Monica, you meet customers all the time. How would you say they're talking about network slicing and how the importance of network slicing is?
Correct, Eva. I do meet a lot of service providers who are in the middle of, either launching or have already launched or planning to launch, 5G. And maybe I would phrase it, I think what's really high on their agenda is to be relevant, towards the enterprises when enterprises are doing their digitalization. And of course, there are many means, they can leverage in order to be relevant. We know also from Ericsson, we have other propositions in the sense of dedicated networks or private networks that are put on-prem basically for the enterprises. But clearly now, particularly with 5G Core, we do have another level of opportunity to leverage the macro network in order to provide a similar type of services. So here, I would say, slicing really becomes an enabler to provide the same qualities or the same aspects as if you had a private network. Both in terms of, the security parts you would want to see there, as well as the quality of service. So I think from that perspective, I would say definitely network slicing is very high on the agenda.
I agree. And at Ericsson, we've been pioneering network slicing since 2015. And we now have a really strong end-to-end solution across OSS, BSS, radio core, transport, and of course, cloud infrastructure. How do you see us using these capabilities going forward?
I think if you look upon it like this, I see if you take a situation today, in most cases, in the market, there are a few standard set of connectivity services that are being provided. Now, of course, with the capabilities that come now with 5G, we will start seeing more and more of tailored services that are specific for a certain, if it's an enterprise or a consumer, but a specific use case, and the specific needs of that particular enterprise. However, if you are to really realize that, you will need to configure a lot of points in the network. And if you were to do that manually, more or less, I would say you would never realize that value. So I think it's core that you really focus on, automation, right, the flexibility, and the ease of use. So all of these three aspects have been key to us when we have developed the 5G Core Policy Studio.
It makes a lot of sense. And I think right now, everyone watching and myself are really asking that question. What are we launching, Monica?
Yes, what is it?
Yes.
So I think in essence, to describe it, I would say it's a network programmability tool that gives the service providers the central management of all the relevant network policies in the core network. 5G, but also in 4G. So I think that this, of course, that sets the foundation. Then if you take a step back and see, so why would you use this? If I talk again about this tailored service, right? So if you take the relationship between an enterprise and a service provider, you would set a certain expectation in terms you have a contract or a subscription, which is relevant maybe for a device, for an application, for some network conditions, for a quality of service, in order to provide a certain service level agreement, right? All of that you need to translate more or less to understand with this, if you're going to fulfill this SLA, what do you need to do and configure in terms of rules and policies in your network? And that's what we do with the 5G Core Policy Studio. We basically bridge, in between the service definition into the actual configuration in the network.
That's great. I'm going to spin on the fact that you said it was a programmability tool, right? So why is that needed?
Because again, when we talk about this tailoring a service, right, making it user specific, it almost goes without saying that means there's got to be a lot of options, right? And that from that perspective, we see in our own estimates that moving into 5G, the level of complexity in policy management will be 20 times higher than what you have in 4G. Purely because of, I would say, the vast options that you have when it comes to policy setting.
Interesting, super interesting. I think it would help us if you could give an example of how a policy setting can impact a service case.
So let's think about the case, we talk a lot about smart manufacturing. So take the case where you have maybe a robot and a human working together in a factory. That robot needs to be, in order for safety and everything else, you need to make sure that it has, let's say, an ultra low latency and with a very high quality of service. On the other hand, that might not be needed 100% of the time. It could be based on time of day. It could be depends a bit on the user. You might use the robot for other things at other points in time. Then you would want to have the opportunity to dynamically change what you're actually providing to this enterprise. From an enterprise perspective, of course, you don't want to pay for more, for this, only for the service that you're actually getting. And then, of course, from an operator perspective, to have a very efficient, utilization of your capacity in the network.
I think it's a good example. So I'm just going to assume now that our Ericsson 5G Core Policy Studio can help to create these services.
Well, Eva, you're assuming right. Yeah, that's exactly what what it does. It's the focus of how we do the central management of the network policies in a much easier way. So maybe let me focus on two things, right? One is that it gives you the end-to-end visibility, but with the central access to really manage all of the policies that you have in the core network, both 4G and 5G. Secondly is the automation, that you also now can really set and trigger all the necessary policies in one go. And with this, we are the only ones in the market.
It's good to be the only vendor. If I look into our solution again, and if you turn to our customers, how would you translate the benefits towards them?
I think the key thing that our customers are looking for here, I would say, is speed. Right? We talk about, you being relevant to the enterprises, and one way to be relevant is that you can be fast. Yeah. That you can, really make sure that what you have showed them and sold them, you can actually deliver, quickly. And through that, we have also complemented the Policy Studio with a very easy-to-use graphical user interface. In order, both from a marketing department as well as the operation department, to be able to easily understand, how you actually configure and set this, and all with the focus really, to reduce the time to activation. And trying to put some numbers to it, we've looked ourselves in doing the same activity without the tool or with the tool. We see that we can save up to 70% of the OPEX when you use the Ericsson 5G Core Policy Studio compared to when you're not using the 5G Core Policy Studio.
I think that's some amazing facts, Monica. And what I take with me here is speed, it's ease of use, it's OpEx savings, and it's that time to market that's so, they're so looking for. So hopefully we're right at the spot. What I would like to do now is to actually drill down even more to be able to show the solution to our viewers. And luckily, we have Luca De Stefano here with us today, and he's going to walk us through this demonstration of the capabilities that we have and that you have been talking about. A big thank you, Monica. You're going to be joining me back here soon. Before we welcome Luca, we're going to look at a short video that summarizes what we've been talking about so far.
With wider deployment of 5G core networks, advanced 5G services are becoming a reality and will benefit millions of users and businesses. 5G enables a plethora of new services and use cases. But how can service providers easily configure their new 5G core networks to deliver them fast? And how can they offer service granularity to fulfill different consumer and enterprise needs? That's where the Ericsson 5G Core Policy Studio comes in. This new network programmability tool centralizes configuration of all available policies in the core network. It enables flexible creation of advanced data communication services by simplifying and automating the configuration of all network policies end-to-end. By combining multiple policies and network conditions available in a core network, service providers can achieve higher service differentiation within network slices. The Ericsson 5G Core Policy Studio enables shorter time to market when launching new services and up to 70% OpEx savings on policy configuration activities. This tool is seamlessly integrated with Ericsson's dual-mode 5G core, enabling you to increase network programmability, helping you design and deploy innovative services, secure granular service differentiation within network slices, and control all network policies for both 5G and 4G core domains, all from just one place. Sound good? Find out what our 5G Core Policy Studio could do for you.
Hi, Luca, and a warm welcome to you. Come join
Hi, Eva.
me here.
Thank you.
It's great to see you. We've heard Monica talk about all the benefits on 5G Core Policy Studio, and now you're actually going to show us a demo of the solution.
Yes, of course, and thank you for inviting me.
No, it's going to be a pleasure to watch. So the floor is yours, Luca.
Thank you. Before going into the demo, let me spend a few words about the concept we are going to demonstrate. To design a new service within a network slice, we typically connect a set of conditions we want to monitor in the network, like the position of the user equipment or the time of day, together with the set of service and network configurations we want to activate dynamically in the network as soon as the conditions are satisfied. 5G Core Policy Studio is designed to help on this and on the creation of these service loops, hiding the complexity of all the configuration activities necessary to activate the service in the live network. And leveraging on that, service providers can really, customize the connectivity services between the user equipment and the application server in a very granular way. But let's make an example about a service case that we can configure with Policy Studio. Let's imagine we want to create a 5G Gold service for our 5G subscribers. And doing that, we want to secure that our subscribers have a high speed in the connectivity when they are under 5G area. And in case they didn't consume the total amount of data we planned for them, for example, 20 gigabit. On top of that, we want to secure that in case these subscribers are under a high traffic area, like for example, a stadium during the match, they can have a better quality experience compared to the other subscribers in the same area. To design such kind of service, we have some rules to configure in the network. First of all, we have to set the usage limit, 20 gigabit, as I said before, and we have to create a 5G quality of service policies with two main rules. First, if the radio access type is not equal to 5G, we want to automatically assign the default quality of service profile. The other rule, in case the radio access type is equal to 5G and the data consumed are lower than the usage limit we set before, we want to automatically apply the 5G QoS profile with a higher bit rate. That's the first policy. The second one, optimal radio frequency. Here the rule is the following. If the day of the week is a Saturday and the time between 5 and 7 p.m. and the location of the user equipment is under the stadium area, we want to assign the radio frequency number 25, that is in this example is the one able to secure a better quality of experience. But let's see how this configuration works in the real tool. This is the live version of the tool we have in our lab. It is connected to the real nodes in the test plant that are listed here. In this entry page, you can see all the services we have configured in this small network. And one of them, 5G Gold, is similar to the example I made you before. So let me click on it and show you more in detail the type of policy configuration we have inside it in the tool. First of all, we have the usage limit set to 20 gigabit, as in the example. And then we have the two policies I mentioned you before, 5G QoS and optimal frequency for better quality of experience. Let me deep dive on them, starting from 5G QoS. Here you have the rule, in case the radio access type is not equal to 5G, we automatically assign the default bearer with the lower bit rate, 1 megabit per second in downlink and 500 kilobit per second in the uplink. But in case the radio access type is equal to 5G and the total amount of data consumed are lower the limit we set to 20 gigabit, we automatically assign the 5G QoS profile with a higher bit rate, 6 gigabit per second in the downlink and 5 gigabit per second in the uplink. And this is a way to secure a better performance when 5G subscribers are under 5G coverage. The other policy, optimal frequency for better quality of experience. Here we see the rule. In case the day of the week is Saturday and the time of day is between 5 and 7 p.m., and in case the cell identity of the user is equal to the one associated to the stadium area, in this example number 99, we automatically assign the frequency number 25, that is the one optimized for a better quality of experience compared to the other frequency assigned to the other subscribers. So these are the rules, how they look like in the tool. And then I can expand these rules, add more conditions and more policies, just clicking on Edit. And here I see, I have an end-to-end view of all the policies I can select and configure on top to the ones already shared before. So when the overall configuration is done, I can save it. And I can configure it in the real live nodes by clicking in the commit button here, and then the object have been successfully committed in the node. So what's happened? The Policy Studio sent the REST command to the real node, and the service now is up and running in the test plant. We can take a look into this configuration file by simply exporting the file of all the commands the Policy Studio sent to the node. And if we open the file here, we can see all the commands we used and the type of complexity the tool is able to hide. The same file can be easily imported by another node. For example, if I click on this other policy node, and then I try to import the file that I saved before, very quickly I can see now the new service in the new node, 5G Gold. So that's all about the demo. Let me summarize that we have seen how the 5G Core Policy Studio can simplify the design of new services in the network, hiding the complexity of all the configuration tasks and the command to be sent to the real nodes. But we have also seen some automation tools like the import-export that can really make the difference in terms of efficiency and speed in the configuration of these services in the network.
Thank you so much, Luca. It was great to actually see a demonstration of the offering we're launching today. I'm going to ask you to come back at the end of the session. So thank you for now.
Thank you.
And now we're going to hear the voice of Andy Hicks. I've asked him to reflect a little bit about the policy market and about the solution that we're offering today. Andrew Hicks is Principal Analyst at Global Data. Take it away, Andy.
There are a couple reasons I really like what Ericsson is doing with its 5G Core Policy Studio. And probably most important among them is this approach of taking every lever that you have in the network to affect slice performance and service performance. So it's not just the classic policy functions, the PCRF, which is 4G policy, and the PCF, which is 5G policy, but the NSSF, which is the slice selection function, as well as the NRF, the network resource function, which is basically just the repository of all the functions in a 5G network. All of those together are what the slice uses to be able to tailor network performance to a particular application. And so it makes sense that you would want to unify those in a single creation studio, in a single pane of glass. Beyond that, I think it's more a question of just the experience that Ericsson has with just a ton of real-life networks. So you get some support for maybe some unusual legacy configurations, unusual legacy use cases, as well as a lot of operational insight. So things like workflows, things like the layout of the studio environment itself, the workspace. And then there's some interesting, I think, beginnings in terms of role management, user management, and how that relates to the security of the slice that I look forward to seeing how it develops.
Thank you so much, Andy. And a warm welcome back to you, Monica. Any reflections what you heard Andy talk about?
Yeah, I think in general it was very interesting to hear how well he captures, the essence of what we're launching with the 5G Core Policy Studio. He mentions, the visibility of the slices as well as the services, and then he uses also the terminology like, here we have like a single pane of glass with our studio, which I think is a really good way to describe it. Right? Then also I think what he highlights that I didn't, we haven't talked about is really, from Ericsson, our experiences with a lot of, live networks and how we now can leverage that into, when we develop solutions like this and towards our customers. So I know, really great, I think, to hear Andy's comments.
Can't agree more. And now we're actually coming to the end of the session where we're going to get us onto the hot seats. So see you at the hot seats. Monica, you are up first. I hope you are comfortable, but not too comfortable in the hot seat. So this is where I'm going to ask you to share your key takeaways that you want the viewers to take with them from this session.
Well, as I said before, I do meet a lot of customers who are in the middle of their 5G launches, and different ways to really go beyond the offering services beyond the mobile broadband is key. And here, of course, the beauty of 5G Core, it gives you a lot of ways to tailor unique services to specific enterprises. However, when you do a lot of different options, it typically also increases the complexity drastically. And with the 5G Core Policy Studio, we shield you a bit from that complexity to really enable you to get the full power out of your 5G network.
And now it's time for you, Luca, to be in the hot seat. No pressure. Please share your key takeaways for the viewers today.
My takeaway is that 5G is at full deployment speed worldwide, and a multitude of network slices are going to appear in the market to connect devices and applications in a very flexible way, and addressing a variety of new needs and use cases in a really tailored mode. And 5G Core Policy Studio plays a key role in this evolution journey, providing centralized configuration tools to control the huge amount of policies we have in 5G with the right level of automation and efficiency, enabling service providers to design new innovative services in a really easy and fast way.
Well done, both Monica and Luca in the hot seat. Welcome back to join me for a Q&A. Thank you, all of you who are posting questions online. We have, as you know, a team of experts responding to you, as you see. We have been able to pick out 2 questions that I want to have answered here right now. And I'm going to start with you, Luca. Can 5G Core Policy Studio support the policy migration from 4G to 5G?
Yes, of course. 5G Core Policy Studio supports import-export capabilities to smoothly migrate policy configuration from a policy node that could be in 4G into another policy node that could be in 5G. And in this way, service providers can decide if and when they want to migrate some services from a 4G environment to 5G.
Thank you, Luca. And the second question I'd like to direct to you, Monica. So what is the role of 5G Core Policy Studio in the overall automation process for end-to-end network slice management?
Very relevant question. I would say there's a tight coupling between the policy studio and the overall service orchestration. So particularly both at the instantiation of a slice, you will have the triggering from the service orchestration via the policy studio to actually set the policies in the slice as well. But also during runtime, you would have you could go the other way around to see that you want to change some policy configurations in the slice. Then the policy studio would notify the service orchestration of these changes and get an acknowledgement, back in order to actually go ahead and activate these changes in the network.
Thank you both. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Luca. It's been absolutely amazing to spend this time with all of you. And we are, of course, extremely thank you for all of you who are watching us here today. More information to come about our launch on Ericsson.com. You can, of course, also seek the help and guidance from your local sales representative. A big, big thank you for watching us here today.